Welcome back guys. So in this tutorial we're going to learn about the basics of Photoshop and its tools. So let's get started and welcome to Fluid Cube Studios. So first you have to know what Photoshop is all about. Photoshop is a pixel based software, which means that for a picture to be visible there has to be light and shadows. And these lights, shadows and colors are stored in minute boxes called pixels. A cluster of pixels form a picture and makes it as a whole picture. So let's take a quick example. Now this picture looks normal. I mean, it looks like a single whole picture, right? Now if you zoom into this picture, as you can see beside this image, you can see small box-like structures which are called pixels. So this is how pixels store colors, shadows and light. So let's move on to Photoshop. And to work in Photoshop, you have to open Photoshop first. So let's open it. So here it is, let the trumpets roll. Currently I'm using the Photoshop CC version. You can get versions of Photoshop in different webs. You can get versions of Photoshop in the Adobe websites. So let's set up a first document, and for that I go to my file and press new. Now why should I set up a document? That's because every file we work with can have different dimensions. Say we are working with an interior render from Lumion and its dimensions can vary. Say you're making a presentation board in Photoshop, again your dimensions may vary. So as we see, we have some space for a document's name where you can rename your document or you can name your document. Next we have the preset bar where we set the size of our workspace. Under preset you have a lot of options like letter, international sizes, etc. If you choose international paper, we can see that you get options of standard paper sizes like A3, A4, B5, etc. If you want to set up your workspace of your own dimensions, then just go to custom. Now beside our dimension box, we have options to choose our units. We have pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, blah blah blah. So let's choose pixels for now. And I enter say 1920 and 1080 pixels. Now if I change these units to centimeters, you can see that the dimensions change. So this dimension in centimeters is equal to the dimensions I entered in pixels. So let's change it back to pixels again. Oops. Okay. So next we have resolution. This basically means that for a box of an inch by inch, there are 300 pixels in it. We have a range of 72 to 350 pixels. I recommend you to have 300 pixels per inch to get a clear output. Next we have the color mode, and under it we have a few more options. We have bitmap, we have grayscale, RGB, CMYK and lap color. We mostly will be using RGB and CMYK. That's because the pictures we render, take from the internet or shoot is composed of RGB colors. CMYK can be used if you're going to print that document because printers follow only the CMYK format and do not support RGB. Let it be 8 bits. And lab color means that lab color is the color mode which are used in labs to print your photos or something like that. Grayscale is used by artists to just sketch the image, and bitmap is like playing a pixelated game. That's how it looks. Yeah. Next we have background contents, which has white, background color, transparent. So white basically gives you a white background and transparent gives you a transparent background. But if you choose background color, you have to select your background color in your color palette over here before you open your new document. So I think we are pretty much done with setting our document. So let's get started with our document and press OK. So here we have our new document over here. A very important aspect in Photoshop are layers. Layers help you keep objects differently without disturbing the object. If the layers palette is not visible on your screen, then just press F7 to turn them on or off. Or you can just go to Windows and select layers to turn them on or off. So that's how you activate layers. So let's see how layers are helpful. I'll just open Paint and I create two objects. Okay, so we have two objects over here. Now let's try separating these two objects. So choose the select tool and I select this circle over here. Now if I move it, you can see that the rectangle behind also gets disturbed. Now let's try doing the same thing in Photoshop. I'll just draw two objects and we'll see how layers are helpful. Now for the second object, I'm going to draw it in a new layer, and for that, you can just click the create new layer below the layer bar. So here we have two objects. And if I have to move my object, I just click my object and I move it, and I can see that the other object is not being disturbed. Now I can move these two shapes in whichever way I want. If you're not able to move the second shape, that must be because your auto select option above is being deselected. So select it and you can move all the shapes freely. So this is the benefit of layers. Now let's start using our basic tools. Our very first tool is the select tool. To enable the select tool, just type V in your keyboard. Always try using shortcuts as it can speed up your work. A select tool can be used to select an object, to move an object and to duplicate an object. Now let's open a new image and try moving it to our carousel. So I go to File, Open, and let's go to Pictures, Save Pictures, and I open this picture. Now to move this picture to our previous workspace, I select my select tool, I click on it and I drag it towards the tab of my workspace. And I'm going to paste it only when I see these white borders and the cursor change. So when I release the click on my mouse, you can see that the picture has been pasted on our workspace. Remember in mind that you should not release your finger until you paste the image on your workspace. Now you can see that Photoshop has automatically created a new layer when you have pasted your new pic. To scale up or down the image, select your image with the select tool, press Ctrl T on your keyboard, and you can transform the image. So we see that this image is kind of huge for our workspace. To scale the image proportionately, hold Shift and one of your corner pick points and scale it down. If you choose any other point to select, you eventually distort your image. The transform box disables any other function you want to work with. So to disable it, just press enter and you can work with any other layer or any other function you want in Photoshop. To duplicate the image, select the image, hold the Alt key and just drag it across your screen. You've got your copy here and Photoshop automatically places the new image in a different layer. Let's try doing it again. So that's how the select tool works, and that's the functionality of the select tool. If you look closely at the toolbar, you can see tiny arrows under a few tools, indicating that there are more tools of the same type. To see them, just long press the right mouse button, or just right click on that tool. So the next tool we're going to see is the rectangular selection tool, and the shortcut is M, just M. Before that, let's first import another image. So again, I go to File, I go to Open, I choose this image. Okay. Now if I want to move only a part of this picture to my workspace, I can use my rectangular selection tool. So I press M here again, and here I have my selection tool. You can see that it looks like a plus symbol, something like that. Now I'll try using my tool with this kind of tribe over here. So I've selected the part I want, and let's move it. For that, I just drag it and I place it on my picture over here. But why didn't I get my picture? That's because I didn't use my move tool to select that picture. So let's try doing it again. After I have selected my picture, I choose my move tool, and now I move it to my next carousel over here. Now you can see that my picture has been pasted on my workspace, and now you can choose a transform tool and you can scale it down according to your wish. If you look back at our original image, you can see that the original image is undisturbed, so that's kind of pretty cool, right? So to deselect it, I press Ctrl D to deselect my image. So after using my move tool, I can close my image over here. So here we have our tribe over here. Why am I saying cannibal? Okay, fine. So I can scale it down according to my wish, and we have our tribe over here. Okay. So I again click enter to place my picture over here. And again, you can see that this image has been created on a new layer, so that you can move it according to your wish, and the other images are not undisturbed. We also have another tool called the elliptical selection tool, which helps you select things in elliptical or circular manner. To select in a circular manner, just select this tool. Just go to your toolbar and select the elliptical marquee tool, which also has the shortcut M. Before that, I'll just open a new image. So if this is what you're doing in your lockdown, comment below. That's what I'm doing too. Okay. Moving on. So moving on, to select in an elliptical manner or a circular manner, I just use my elliptical selection tool and I just drag it across just like my rectangle tool. To get it in a circular manner, I hold shift again to select in a circular manner. Yeah, obviously. Now again, I open my move tool and I chop this panda's head and I paste it over here. That looks like a YouTube subscribe button. Okay, fine. So we have our panda's head over here, and if I look back at my original image, you can see that it's being undisturbed. So I can deselect it and I can close it. Sorry, panda. Now after choosing my selection tool, you can see that there's an option called feather. You can use the feather option on the top to smooth down your edges while selecting your image. It will just smoothen out your edges. Selection tool also offers you an option to paint a selected area. For that, you have to create another layer. So let's create another layer by pressing the create another layer on the toolbar, and we'll choose the elliptical selection tool. We'll create a circle. Now I grab my bucket over here and I pour my paint over here. So that's done. I have my new shape over here. Now I again press deselect to deselect my shape. Now if you want to send this shape at the back of my cute little panda, I can go to my layer tool. I can just drag this layer and paste it below the panda's head layer, and I can move it along, I can edit it, I can do whatever I want. Done. Next we have the single column marquee tool and the single row marquee tool. This tool selects all the pixels across the selection line according to the column or row option you select. These tools do not have shortcuts because maybe I think they are used rarely. Oh guys. So let's try creating some patterns with these tools. So I select one of them, say the row tool. I choose the layer which I want to work on, say this layer. Now if I just click on my screen, this automatically shows a line. And let's choose the transform tool, and you can see that we have some pick points over here, and I select one of the pick points and I drag it. Damn, that looks cool. You can create patterns with that. I can undo this by pressing Ctrl Z, or if I want to undo it 10 times, I can press Ctrl Alt Z so that it gets undone 10 times. If I want to redo it, I can press Ctrl Y so that it gets redone. Now let's try saving this beautiful piece of art. It looks great, doesn't it? At least this part. Come on. Okay, fine. So I go to file, I go to save. Okay, that appears because I haven't deselected my tool. So I just say apply, and over here you can rename your file, say whatever you want. I save it as art, and under the save as type I have a lot of options. say we have Photoshop options, we have we have JPEG, we have PNG, and some other stuff. If you're going to want to edit your image again in Photoshop, then it's advisable to choose the Photoshop options, turn on your layers, because even if you open it again, your layers are visible and you can edit your layers again. Or if this is going to be a final image, you can choose any other picture format. Say I choose JPEG and save my file. It asks for the quality, so of course we want maximum quality, and I press OK. So I'm done with saving my image, and let's try viewing my image. And here I have my art. Okay, that's done, guys. Oh wait, that's like done. I mean, this tutorial is done, guys. Cheers, guys. We are done with some cool basics in Photoshop, and if you found this video really useful, then don't forget to subscribe and follow Instagram page. See ya, people.